Hi, I'm Rob Raybon, and on today's video, we're going to mess with the skyline, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Today we're going to install some really cheap underglow. You can find this stuff on Amazon. I think it's $43 for all of it. I'm going to include the link in the description below, teach you how to install it and wire it up and all that good stuff. And what you can expect and what you really need to do to make this work. I know a couple companies sell kits that are pretty expensive. I saw one that was like $800 for addressable LEDs. It comes with a controller that's not totally programmable. You can use other programmable controllers with these strips. They are the IC type of addressable LEDs, which means each individual light can be turned on and off, and it can be turned a different color in a different sequence, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. Traditionally, most LEDs that you see are going to be one solid color. Those you can buy really cheap on Amazon and eBay. They're like $12 a strip. We actually put those on my friend Leo's car a while back that he bought from a company that charged him a couple $100 for them. It's not going to be the perfect length for what you need. You can cut them, you can splice them, but we're just going to do the most basic install, the cheapest install, and the quickest install. So let me show you what's going on. Once you place your order from Amazon, you're going to get a box about this size. I already unboxed most of this just to see what's here. You're going to want to make sure that you get the IC type and you want to get the waterproof type. These are waterproof. I don't know how waterproof they are. It's just kind of like a silicone feeling cover on top of all the LEDs, and you're going to get the controller. So these are like the harnesses that connect to the actual LED strips. You're going to have one port for each side. You can connect these in series, like one after another, but it does affect how much power gets put out. And I'm not sure how many in a row the controller will actually control. So I hook it up this way just because that's how it's supposed to be. These are 16 foot each, which will give you 32 feet of coverage, which is a lot. Like I said, you can cut them in spots. They don't actually have like a cut line. You're also going to get an AC to DC adapter, so you can actually test them with a wall outlet before you even hook them up. Here's the other strip. You're also going to get a remote control. The thing with this remote control is that it's nice. It kind of looks like some sort of detonator, so don't operate this in front of any kind of law enforcement because they might think that you're trying to blow something up, like the Joker and Batman, or like Bane.
Let the games begin.
You do have to have a 23A battery, which is a really small, like AAA looking kind of battery, but it's 12 volts. You need one of those special batteries for this. You can find those on Amazon too. I wanted mine real quick, so I had to buy a 5-pack of them. 5-pack was like $6. It's not really expensive. You don't necessarily need the remote. It just kind of lets you go through and adjust speed and go through the presets. It's nice that you can turn it on and off when you're outside of the car. Another thing you're gonna need is a car. So pick what kind of car you want to use. I really want to put them on the 2011, but we're going to pick this. I'm going to pick the new Skyline because I think that underglow is really meant for Skylines and other JDM vehicles. So let's start on that. But real quick before we get started, let's actually see what the LEDs look like. Once you have your adapter all powered up, you can go ahead and plug it right into the side of your controller. And make sure your two harnesses are on. Then these just plug right in. Black part of the LEDs are going to go into the black part of this. White goes to the controller. It's pretty easy. It only goes in one way. You don't have to worry about hooking it up backwards or anything. You can only hook it in one way. Now that we have power, flip these things over, and we're just going to test them out just so you can see what it looks like. This does have a little power button on it. Make sure this is plugged in. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Up and down are your presets. You can see that it's different colors and different brightnesses and all that good stuff. This has 127 presets, I believe. No, actually more. 133 presets on this. And like I said, you can control the speed. The higher number, the lower the speed, which seems a little counterintuitive to me. It goes pretty slow. And as you can see, S100 is like really slow. And you can even pause this. Like if you like the way one thing looks, you can just pause it there. And the high speed is pretty high speed. Now with 133 presets, you're going to find something that you're going to like. That's why I said you don't really need too fancy of a controller for this. This is basic. This was $40 some. You don't need to spend $800 on addressable LED kits from companies. I mean, you can if you want. If they talk you into it, that's fine. But like I said, this is going to be pretty good, and nobody's going to know that you didn't pay $800 unless they saw this video, which they might. I don't know. You can get this connector and buy this separate. I'm not sure where on Amazon, like what you would even search for, but this will be 12 volt. You want to make sure it's 12 volt DC. I had this connector laying around, so I don't have to cut up the one that I have. You can concentrate on wiring first, but I think that we're going to actually mount the LED strips. Running wire isn't going to be too bad on this car, especially because everything's kind of out in the open and the interior's half gutted. Always use jack stands, kids. One more quick note that I didn't even notice originally is that this stuff doesn't have any kind of adhesive backing, which isn't going to be a big deal because we have some adhesive squares that we're going to use. So a couple things that you will need besides the lighting kit is going to be tie wraps, and some people refer to these as sticky backs. These are adhesive backed little tie wrap holders. They're pretty handy. I use them a lot in the control industry when I do electrical work and stuff. A lot of electricians will have these. You'll be able to find these at Home Depot, and you can also find these on Amazon. I actually have some black ones that are a little bit smaller than these. I found these on Amazon for real cheap. I'm not sure how the adhesive's going to stick to everything, but you might want to grab a rag with something to clean with and try to stick these underneath the car. You want to be able to find a nice route. You don't want to run it where anything is moving, where anything is hot. So you want to probably pick the far side rails, and then in the back you probably want to tuck it back underneath, just because you don't want it to get near any exhaust pieces. Obviously, I mean that's obvious, right? Take your strips, and I just go ahead and unroll the complete thing. We're gonna put the controller in the trunk, so make sure that you put the male end towards the trunk. You can see that one strip will do pretty much the entire side of the car. There's gonna be a couple spots where we're gonna have to tuck it up and hide it, kind of like around the rear wheels and front wheels, because that's where your control arms are and you don't want this to flex and get cut. So we're gonna start here and probably throw this over top of the rear center section kind of area. The other reason I picked the trunk is because I knew that there was gonna be a couple of spots where I could probably get through easy, and I was right. There's a spot right here. This just pulls right out, this little drain plug. We're gonna route everything right through here. We're gonna keep the drain plug in though, and just drill some holes right through the rubber. That way we get a little bit of weather sealing, plus the mufflers on this side, so we don't wanna die from carbon monoxide poisoning. Once again, if you do die from carbon monoxide poisoning, please don't sue me. You won't get any kind of money. Good luck trying to get anything out of me, I'm poor. Also, underglow is probably illegal in your area, so don't do it. Don't do any of this, because it's against the law, just like a lot of other modifications. And cut a little slit up right through the center of this. My car has a bunch of these kind of beam clamp looking clamps that actually hold on the body kit. There should be some nuts on the ends of these, but there's not. But I'm attaching to that in this cross tie wrap fashion because that'll keep it from twisting. Another thing to note real quick is you don't want to tighten up these too tight because there is a lot of circuitry in the strip, and the little IC chips are also in the strip. So you don't want to crush any of these or the lights or any of the circuitry. So don't tighten these up too much. Like even this is a little bit too much. Another couple small things that you want to add to your total price. This was probably $10. These are ATC fuses, and this is just a fuse holder. When you run your main power for this thing, you really want to make sure that you fuse it because you don't want to burn your car down just for some underglow. We have some 10 gauge cable. You can use probably 14 for this. It's not going to eat up that much power. We're going to take the hot right to this terminal. You can also do an add a fuse and throw it right under your fuse compartment. There's types of add a fuse things, just kind of like piggyback off of what's already there. You want to make sure that you find a nice route that's going to be out of the way. It's not going to get pinched. Power is hazardous, so you don't want to put it anywhere where it's going to get pinched. We're probably going to run right with the factory harness, and that means we can go right through the firewall, right onto this factory harness, and then right out the back. The proper way to do a splice like this would be to put some shrink wrap over here, and then solder these together, twist them together, solder them together, and then put the shrink wrap over top, and then you'd have a good splice. But I don't have a soldering iron up here, so we're going to temporarily do this, like I said, temporarily do this with a wire nut. We're eventually going to solder this on and do it the right way, but because I just want to do this for video purposes, I'm going to do it this way. Do not do it this way. As for our negative terminal, we're going to just grab it right back here. There's a bunch of different grounds in the trunk. It'd be nice and easy just to put Stay-Con here, or right under this screw right here. Just make sure that this is tight, not tight enough that it smashes any of the forks or anything, but pretty tight. You'll find a lot of problems on cars are because you have loose ground. Since this is our first startup, I would not recommend plugging it in right away. Let's let it hang out for a bit. Before you do this, also make sure that your negative is disconnected, because you don't want to be fishing this hot wire through and hit a wire and then short something out. So now that your negative's disconnected, you can take this, and then you want to take your fuse holder and then splice all that stuff up. Make sure that there's no fuse in here. And go ahead and land that there. So now it's time to put in one of our ATC size fuses. The adapter that comes with the LED kit says that it's a 12 volt 6 amp adapter. So you want to keep something around there. Probably not going to have an exact 6 amp fuse, so try to find a 5 amp or a 10 amp. I'm probably just going to go with a 10 amp because that's what I have. If it grounds out, you're not going to blow anything up because this fuse is just going to pop. 10 amps isn't that much current. The controller's cheap. You don't have to worry about protecting that for overcurrent. It's more about, car safety. So go ahead and throw your 10 amp in. To do that, you just pop open the holder, slide that thing right in. Put a little bit of tape on your butt splice too. You don't want that to touch anything. Tuck this down somewhere where it's nice and safe and you really don't want it to be visible. Make sure everything works, and then you can really tie things up. Now that we have our power hooked up, we can go ahead and see if we have power to the controller. So this is just temporary with the wire nuts, so don't mind those. Just pop this thing in. We have power. And we have underglow. Nice. Here's what the A23 batteries from Amazon look like. We're gonna throw these in the remote and then actually have some sort of remote control now. So the reason you need these A23 batteries is because they're 12 volts. Even though they're really tiny, they're actually 12 volts. Pretty neat that they make a battery this small that is 12 volts. You can't really find these at Walmart or anywhere else that I looked, which was just Walmart. And pops right in. That's easy enough, but I'll show you anyway just in case you want to know. Pop that in. So this should have a pretty good range. So let's check it out. On and off. And you can adjust your speed and presets. And you can adjust speed. Presets. That's slow speed. Addressable LEDs are definitely the way to go. So you can do this a bit cheaper, but I really wouldn't suggest doing that. Just spend the extra $20 and get the addressable ones. You also have a pause function. You can pause it if you like how it looks in one spot. If you want to like take a picture or something. This should look pretty cool once the car's on the ground. We're gonna do some night shots with this. You'll see how awesome it looks. So that's how you can install some really cool looking underglow for pretty cheap. It's a nice do-it-yourself project. You can do it in less than a day if you wanted to. A lot of these things you might have laying around, tie wraps and stuff, so on the cheap end, it'll cost you about $45. Might cost you about $55, $60 more realistically, but it's a cool project. It's a little corny, a little cheesy, a little Ricer-ish, but whatever. If you want to do something like this to your car, why would you care what anybody else says? Just do it. Just do it and have fun. But don't get pulled over by the cops because, like I said, it's probably illegal in your town. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe and share it with all your friends. Goodbye.